Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh and I just want to go over 3 quick things for today's video. The first of which is going to be the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni situation, and then I want to discuss the impending, or at least currently impending, TikTok ban that the US government is going to be putting in place. And then lastly, I just want to talk about all the lists about music that have come out over the past month. The first topic on the docket for today is the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni situation. So this situation has been developing over the past 2 to 3 months. The situation kind of started after Justin Baldoni made her and a lot of other people feel uncomfortable on set, and this whole situation just kind of spiraled out of control from there. The internet just immediately started taking sides. People immediately started digging into Blake Lively's history. So the internet ended up finding a interview video with Blake Lively from a couple of years ago, and the interviewer ended up telling Blake Lively, congrats on your little bump. And I guess this just rubbed Blake Lively the wrong way, or she didn't really like that the interviewer was pointing out that she was pregnant, because she immediately kind of snapped back and kind of said in a little bit of a harsher tone, congrats on your little bump. And so upon this video resurfacing on the internet and kind of just going viral all over YouTube and TikTok and all the social media platforms, the internet immediately started to portray Blake Lively in a bad light, and they started to dig more into her history of her celebrity interactions, and just any video the internet could find that portrayed Blake Lively in a bad light. A lot of people just ran with that. Somehow the internet ended up figuring out that almost the entire cast and people who worked on the It Ends With Us movie, they were following Blake Lively, but they weren't following Justin Baldoni. So the internet kind of just took sides, and they were like, well, it's obviously got to be Baldoni. He obviously did something wrong here because all the cast members are following Blake Lively, so something must have happened on set, because why would all the cast members follow her and not him? And then the whole video, the whole interview with Blake Lively going viral, people were portraying her in a bad light, kind of saying, look how mean she is and stuff like that. And so the internet just kind of immediately started taking sides. But this situation has just absolutely blown up. Blake Lively decided to file a CRD complaint, which I believe CRD stands for Civil Rights Department, and she accused Justin Baldoni of SH, supposedly launching a smear campaign against her. She accused Justin Baldoni that he was the reason why Blake Lively was getting all this backlash online, and that he was launching a smear campaign against Blake Lively to kind of ruin her career. That is what she filed in this complaint. Now, immediately after that, Baldoni was let go by his media agency. Now, he has since come out and claimed that the reason why they let him go was because Ryan Reynolds pressured them to do so. All of this right now is still alleged, so nothing is set in stone. But then after Justin Baldoni's media agency let him go, the New York Times came out with an article that pretty much was exposing Justin Baldoni for all of the alleged things he had done on set, and that he was just being inappropriate and unprofessional. So immediately after this article came out, Stephanie Jones, who was Justin Baldoni's former publicist, decided to sue him, his media/production company Wayfarer Studios, as well as Jennifer Abel, who is still a member of his PR team, and she accused all of them of stealing clients from her, as well as breaching several contracts that they had previously established with her. Immediately after this happened, Justin Baldoni decided to sue the New York Times over that scathing expose that they released about him, and he pretty much accused them of being in cahoots with Blake Lively to apparently ruin or destroy his career. He also is accusing them of cherry-picking evidence in the article to portray Baldoni in a bad light. Immediately after Baldoni decided to sue the New York Times, Blake Lively decided to directly sue Justin Baldoni. She is alleging him of SH, emotional distress, retaliation, negligence, and contract breach. Justin Baldoni has since also come out and said that Blake Lively treated him and his friends and family very poorly at the movie premiere for the It Ends With Us movie. He said that she apparently didn't want him at the after party, did not invite him, and that she apparently also sent him and his friends and family to the basement at the movie premiere, which, I mean, That just seems so unserious. This whole situation has just absolutely spiraled out of control and just blown up. Before I delve into my opinion on this, I'm not going to take anyone's side, and everything that was aforementioned is all alleged. None of this is 100% confirmed. This whole situation is just absolutely insane. Like, this whole situation has just gotten really blown up, not only just because of the internet, but also because, given everything that's happened so far, I think it is fair to say that both of these individuals do not want each other to have a career anymore. In the same breath, I also think that it is fair to assume that both of these individuals want a movie sequel to the It Ends With Us movie to happen, because the movie was actually shot for a fairly low budget, and the movie actually did fairly well at the box office. However, the issue is, really, neither of them can do it without each other. Blake Lively can't shoot a sequel to this movie without Justin Baldoni, because Justin Baldoni owns the film rights to the Colleen Hoover books in this series. He acquired the rights to the whole series, and then he shot the It Ends With Us movie. However, Justin Baldoni also can't really move forward with a sequel to this movie without Blake Lively, simply because of the fact that she was like the biggest star in this movie, and the movie really blew up because she was in it. So both of them are just kind of stuck in a situation where it's like they both want a sequel, or at least I think it's very evident that they both want to make a sequel to this movie, but they can't really do it without each other. However, this situation is quickly escalating to the point where I think it might very well destroy both of their careers. I think unless more evidence comes out that proves that Justin Baldoni was indeed being a creep on set, and that everything Blake Lively has said about him is true, or more evidence comes out that proves everything Justin Baldoni is accusing Blake Lively of is true, I think what's going to end up happening is both of these individuals are going to end up destroying both of their careers. I think this situation is quickly following the footsteps of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard situation, where both of those individuals pretty much destroyed their careers. I think we're already in the deep end of this situation, and then I think we're so far in the deep end that it's fair to say nobody, again, unless more evidence comes out, nobody is going to come out on top of this situation. I think both of their careers are just going to be over at this point. If more evidence does come out in the future that proves that, you know, Blake Lively is innocent in this whole thing, or Justin Baldoni is innocent in this whole thing, then okay, one of them might have a career. But I think we're so far off the deep end that I don't think either of them are going to have a career after this whole thing. Now, I just want to come out and say that, again, at the time of me filming this, that is the most recent and up-to-date information that I have on this whole situation. More evidence and more things can come out after I've filmed this and after I've edited and posted it. But again, I just want to come on here and say that I'm not defending either of these individuals, and I'm just working with the most current information that I have at the present date and time. I also want to come on here and say that I apologize if I left out any information, or if I glossed over any information, or if I forgot to say or mention anything that has happened in this whole situation. Again, this situation, everything came out fast and heavy. Like, lawsuits were flying across the room like nobody's business. I apologize if I missed anything or if I didn't include anything. I just want to come on here and say that I did not do it on purpose. It's just simply because the rate at which this whole situation has just blown up has just been absolutely insane. Okay, so as I was editing this video, the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni situation has escalated once again, and Justin Baldoni is now directly suing Blake Lively. He has also tied Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift into the lawsuit, and he is alleging that Blake Lively used Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift to sort of come after his career and attempt to destroy his career, and so now he is directly suing Blake Lively. The second topic on the docket for today's video is the imminent TikTok ban, or at least currently imminent TikTok ban. A bill has recently been introduced by Senator Ed Markey, in which he is putting forth a bill to Congress to delay the upcoming ban of TikTok. Now, at the time of me filming this, TikTok is set to be banned within the next week. The bill is proposing that the ban of TikTok be delayed by 270 days so that TikTok can find somebody else to buy it, or for a way to work around this whole situation where the US government wants to ban it. Now, first of all, on the subject of the US government wanting to ban TikTok, I, myself, and a lot of other people all over the internet have just really found it confusing as to how and to why the US government is prioritizing this over a lot of other things that are happening at this current date and time. Myself and other individuals on the internet have just come out and especially discussed and talked about the fact that it's weird how the US government seemingly doesn't mind that other apps and companies like Facebook, Snapchat, Google, and all these other companies and corporations and apps can spy on us and steal our data and literally sell our data. There's literally whole companies whose main purpose is to block data sellers from selling our personal data, and how the US government is just seemingly allowing that to happen. And these companies might very well be selling our data to China indirectly. So it just seems weird that the US government is kind of wanting to ban TikTok, yet numerous companies that are based right here in the US are doing the exact same thing, and the US government isn't really retaliating as much against these companies. Now, that being said, I myself believe that the main reason why the US government wants to ban TikTok is purely for xenophobic reasons and xenophobic purposes. Now, the US government has come out and said that this is a quote-unquote national security concern, and that's why they're going to ban TikTok, because again, allegedly TikTok is spying on people and giving our data over to the Chinese government. And so that's the justification as to which the US government is using to justify its banning of TikTok. But again, it just seems very nefarious considering that a whole host of US-based companies and apps are doing the exact same thing, and they're selling off our data and spying on us, and it's like the US government is just turning a blind eye to all of that. This whole situation just reeks of xenophobia. Now, the internet is of course being the internet, and they're trying to say that TikTok getting banned is actually a good thing. I've seen people on the internet say that because TikTok is getting banned, people's attention spans are going to go up, the music industry is going to change for the better, and that people are going to be nicer online than they were before. And I just want to come on here and discuss a lot of the talking points around the pros and the cons of TikTok getting banned that I've seen online. Now, firstly, I want to start out with the pros. So the first pro that I can see with TikTok getting potentially banned is that all of us who want to be influencers and did not tap into it during the COVID-19 lockdown, like all of us who didn't pick up a camera during COVID-19 and start filming little TikTok dance videos, hopefully all of us can like maybe get a second chance to do that with TikTok getting banned, because, you know, TikTok will definitely be replaced with another app. So then hopefully all of us who want to be influencers and didn't tap in during the COVID-19 lockdown now have a second chance to do so. The second potential pro that myself and a lot of other people on the internet that I've seen brought up is the fact that people might potentially be on their phones less, like people's screen time in general might go down because of TikTok getting banned. But I think that's like a 50-50 situation. I don't think banning TikTok is gonna like take people off of their phones entirely. There's many other apps that do the same thing as TikTok. Like literally Instagram has Reels, which is basically just a knockoff of TikTok. Like every app, every big social media app has just, since TikTok came out and blew up, every big social media app has just indirectly copied TikTok. Like Snapchat has their own version of TikTok, Instagram has Reels, YouTube has Shorts, Twitter even has like scrollable vertical form content. So every big social media app has kind of come out with their own version of TikTok. So I don't really think that TikTok getting banned is significantly going to reduce people's screen times. I think it can in some people, but I just think that overall it probably won't. And then the last like benefit or pro to TikTok getting banned that I've seen people bring up is the fact that some influencers might have to get a 9 to 5. Now, before I started this YouTube channel, I used to agree with these people and be like, oh yeah, these influencers do need to get like a real job. Like being an influencer is not a real job. But since I've started my YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel isn't even big, but since starting it, I have fully realized like being a content creator and being an influencer is not as easy as people think it is. I'm not someone who is a fan of people who are just like, oh, you know, these influencers need to get a real job. Like, I'm not on that side. Now, that being said, in the same breath, I say that there are certain influencers that I have seen and that I do think exist where it's just like, yeah, they do kind of need to get a real job. Like, I think people on the internet who post misinformation on the internet and they have built a platform doing that, yeah, I think it's time that they need to like get a real job. But in the grand scheme of things, people who have become influencers thanks to TikTok, I'm not a firm believer or firm supporter of the idea that since TikTok is getting banned, that I'm not really one of those people who's kind of gloating in the fact that, oh, you know, you're gonna have to get a real job like the rest of us. Being a content creator is not easy work. Like, for those people who are on the internet talking about how these influencers are gonna have to get a real job and they're kind of gloating in that fact, I challenge each and every one of you to start your own channel or start your own TikTok. Like, consistently put out videos as consistent as some of these bigger creators are, and deal with all the things that come with that, like all the backlash, all the hate comments, all the just mean, hurtful things the internet says to these people. Like, this whole notion and this whole like gloating in the fact that these people who have built a platform on TikTok are now going to have to get a real job, I just think that that is cruel and hurtful. Now, some possible downsides that I see coming from this TikTok ban, the first of which is all the small businesses that built their business or had their business grow exponentially thanks to TikTok. I feel so bad for all of them, because now it's like their whole like business is like up in the air. Like, small businesses who built their fan bases and built themselves by posting videos on TikTok and going viral on TikTok. Like, it is so hard to build a business, and like even in America, like it's hard to build a successful business. The fact that like a lot of these people who have built these small businesses and who have used TikTok to help grow and bring in more sales and revenue for their small businesses, the fact that all of that is now being put on the line simply due to this TikTok ban, like, I feel so bad and I feel so empathetic and sympathetic for all of these small businesses, because like that's not fair to them. Like, their whole like business is now on the brink of like potentially not existing anymore, simply because of the fact that TikTok might get banned. Now, there are people out here who are going to say, well, you know, they should have grown their business beyond TikTok. And to that, I say, like, you try it. Like, again, the same people that I think are gloating and reveling in the fact that these influencers are going to have to like get real jobs if TikTok gets banned are the same people who will have no empathy and no sympathy for these small businesses who might not potentially exist after this TikTok ban. It's the same group of people. Like, it's the same mean, hurtful, hateful group of people who just simply don't want to see anybody succeed unless it's them. Like, I feel so bad for all these small businesses, because it's like their whole like people's whole livelihoods is now at risk simply because of this TikTok ban, and I just think that that's simply unfair, and I don't think that anybody should have to go through that. So I think that that is a huge like downside to this whole TikTok ban, is that like all these small businesses who grew their businesses on TikTok, like, they're at risk now of not existing and of not having a livelihood or a dependable income. And it's just like, that's not right, and we shouldn't be reveling or gloating in that fact, like, no matter who it is. I just think that that is just cruel and hurtful. Another downside that I see, and this is in relation to people that think that the music industry is going to get better after TikTok gets banned, it's not. People who think that the music industry is going to significantly improve after TikTok gets banned, I have news for you, it's not. Like, before, like, there is a certain element of truth to like music going downhill since TikTok became a thing, because yeah, there are certain songs that I think were made with the sole purpose of going viral on TikTok. However, it's been so long since like TikTok has been a thing, and since TikTok has completely changed the music industry, that I think now like the damage is done, so to speak. And I think that people who think like music is now suddenly going to get better and we're no longer going to get like these easily danceable songs or like these easily like editable songs are wrong. Like, that's not what's going to happen. Like, the whole industry has just trended in this direction, and that's just the way that it is. Another downside of banning TikTok is a lot of like smaller or like indie music artists, they're now going to be facing like a more uphill battle to go viral and to gain success and gain like an audience and find like a fan base. TikTok really kind of like eliminated like the middleman being record labels and music production companies. Like, TikTok erased the need to have like a record label or a music executive back you. Before TikTok, like, if you wanted to actually have a career in the music industry, you would have to get the backing of like a major label or a major executive or like somebody who was already established in the music industry, and that was like an uphill battle. And so when TikTok came about, that kind of just erased that hurdle entirely, because it's like, you don't need a record label anymore. You don't need, you know, the backing of a major production company or major music company or major music executive to go viral. Like, you could go viral on TikTok and that could get you the success and fame and audience and fan base that you needed and wanted. So I think the banning of TikTok is going to just completely erase that potential for a lot of music artists, especially smaller music artists. And then the last thing that I think is a huge downside to this potential TikTok ban is the fact that we're going to have one less non-US social media app that is like dominant in the industry. TikTok is the biggest social media app in America right now, if not globally. Like, and it's huge. And this is a non-US app. And because this is a non-US app, that comes with certain benefits and certain restrictions that apps that are based in the US don't have to face and don't have to benefit from. For example, Mark Zuckerberg. We have seen Mark Zuckerberg get called into Congress like every other month. Like, he literally goes to Congress more than anybody else I've ever heard of. And that just comes with the fact that he is in charge of a US based company doing business in the US. TikTok is a non-US based company doing business in the US, which again comes with its own set of hurdles and benefits. Congress cannot just, call up the CEO of TikTok and be like, get your butt over here, we gotta talk about some stuff. Versus, again, Mark Zuckerberg, Congress can call him up morning, noon, or night and be like, get over here, we got stuff to talk about. If somebody in Congress gets a flat tire, guess who they're calling? Mark Zuckerberg. If a light bulb needs to be changed in the congressional courthouse, guess who they call? Mark Zuckerberg. That is one thing that's just a part of doing business in the US. And I'm not saying that TikTok is breaking any US regulations or laws by not being based in the US. I'm saying that because they're not based in the US, they benefit from that, but there's also downsides to that. As we're saying right now, this app is potentially being banned. An app like Facebook doesn't necessarily have to worry about being banned because they're based in the US and the US can't label them a national security concern. And again, going back to the US government kind of turning a blind eye to US companies that are spying on our data, Apple literally just lost a lawsuit in which they are now going to have to be paying out people because Siri has been listening to people. So it's weird how the US government is like turning a blind eye to companies like Apple and Meta and Microsoft and Google for spying on us and selling our data and potentially, again, selling it directly to China. But it's like, because a Chinese app is doing the exact same thing, that's not okay. And that's why I say this whole thing is pretty much rooted in xenophobia. As I was editing this, the TikTok situation has also developed a little bit more. A lot of users are now moving to this app called, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, but it's called Xiaohongshu. And it is basically like another version of TikTok. It's the Chinese version of TikTok. And so a lot of TikTok users are calling themselves TikTok refugees and moving to this app. And additionally, Donald Trump has also said that he is probably going to give the TikTok ban a slight delay. I believe he said up to 90 days, which, yeah, this kind of falls right into a lot of things that I was seeing online from people saying that Donald Trump was going to kind of, as soon as he came into the Oval Office, he was going to act like he saved TikTok, which I just want to remind everyone really quickly that yes, Joe Biden did sign the initial bill that went into banning TikTok. However, this was a bipartisan effort. This bill easily glided straight on through the Senate. So this is not just a left versus right conversation. Again, both political sides, both political parties were involved in the banning or just outright wanting to ban this app. The last topic on the docket for today's video is going to be the fact that there have been like gangbusters amount of lists, like music lists that have been posted by Billboard in the past like month and a half. I think there's like a dozen top 200, top 50, top 200 like songs, albums, artists lists that Billboard has been posting, and I'm just like, what is with all these lists? Like, I tried to compile a list of all these lists, no pun intended, Billboard has been posting. So the first list that really like blew up over the internet was the greatest pop stars of the 21st century. And then since then, we've just seen like waves and waves and waves of lists just coming out from Billboard. They put out the greatest pop stars of 2024, which I had never heard of before this year, but again, because it went viral on social media, I was made aware of it. But apparently this is a list they've been putting out since the 80s. Like, okay, I can understand why they put out that list, but they also put out several other lists. They put out a Billboard top artists of the 21st century, a Billboard top 200 albums of the 21st century, a Billboard 100 best songs of 2024, Billboard 50 best albums of 2024, and Billboard top 100 songs of the 21st century. there has just been so many lists that Billboard is putting out. The greatest pop stars of the 21st century and top pop songs of 2024. Those two lists I can understand, but the rest of these lists, I'm just like, why are these even a thing and where did these come from? I feel like Billboard is just trying to start up a dramageddon among like stans, and they're trying to instigate stan wars. They're putting out list after list after list after list after list, and I'm like, what is with these lists? Like, I feel like there have just been so many lists that have just been coming out the woodwork, and I'm just like, why are you putting these out? Like, I get it, Billboard has got to put out content, they got to like keep it fresh, but I'm just like, this is crazy. This is too many lists. Like, Apple even put out a list last year of most influential pop stars or music artists or something like that. And I'm like, what is with everybody making lists? Like, I don't know what it is, but it's like making a list is like the most trendiest thing to do in the music industry now. But that is going to be it for today's video. I just want to thank you guys all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And definitely let me know your thoughts on the topics I discussed in today's video in the comment section below. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye!